before anybody. I don't think says, okay, it says I'm live. This Hangout is on air. Now, I wonder if what happens. I'm going to try to hang up on my phone now. So we'll, see if this works out. I've got to figure out how to hang up now. All right, hanging up. All right. All right, now I got my camera on. It says I'm live, that the little stop broadcast and the little live in theater, little kind of studio light is on down there at the bottom. I don't have any viewers. Here's the invites. Yeah, okay, let's try again. Here. We'll go invite. And now, invitation posted. Okay. Well, anarchism redo. Looks
okay.
like looks like here.
Yeah, this is better.
All right. Yes, I've got it on my laptop now.
Okay.
Good deal.
Now we just gotta tell EcoTorque to get in here.
All right. The stuff on my phone as possible.
Go on Minds.
It'd be nice if I had like a little cooling pad for my phone. I think would be nice. It's like full compress things.
Yeah.
Right.
Why doesn't it work?
Waiting on EcoTorque to join. I sent him an invitation.
Oh, okay, cool.
EcoTorque, there he is. Speak of the man himself. Oh, microphone muted.
The camera, that's it. I've muted the camera.
There we go. See,
yeah.
Now this is the laptop camera up here.
Okay.
Right on. So I'm going to shut mine off to slow down the bandwidth.
Are we all here?
I'm here. Satori's here. You're here.
Great. So I'll send right, I need to send this link to
Yeah. To Minds Gaming?
Yeah.
Oh man. Tired.
Now, is there a way to go back and like edit out all this nonsense before we actually start talking?
What was that?
I said, is there actually a way to?
Where's that? Sorry, that's that link again. I just sent a message to Minds Gaming about this link. He said he wants me to look at it, and I can't because I can't turn the music on. I know what I do. I know what I do.
That's one feature about. Let's see if I can. There we go.
Oh. How the hell do I find out which? Oh, God. Oh, there it is. That's the link to Minds Gaming's page that he sent me. You there, Satori?
Yeah, I'm here.
I just wanted to mention something else just for a minute while we're waiting. You know, on when we get a like or a thumbs up or a thumbs down on a post or on a comment, and is it? I've asked a few times, you know, if we could have a feature where you can see who's liked or disliked it by just clicking on, say, where it says a number of likes on a comment. Just click on that number, and it will give a list of who commented or who liked or disliked, not who commented, but who liked or disliked it. Because I mean, okay, you can go through your notifications, but it's really hard to find out. You know, if you're in a thread of a conversation, to go back to notifications and find out which comment relates to, or which like relates to which comment, it's really hard. Well, it's impossible actually. I can't find out how to do it. Would it be very hard
Yeah.
to do for the programmers? Know more about it than I do.
I don't think so, but I'm not too sure how they had that. But yeah. Kind of like mention it. I mean, the show's not necessarily about that, but I could ask him and see what he says about that. Because I know they got like big updates coming soon, and then after that, I think like really what we've been talking about is to create a polling system where we start like having the community suggest features and people like kind of vote on it and make a priority list that way.
Right.
And so then like we start making like little features like that and according to the priority of the community.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
The best way of doing stuff.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
I can mention, like I said,
You're breaking up.
so where did House go? Did you contact Minds Online Club? What's that?
Yeah, he's got his boy with him at the moment, so he's a bit busy. But he said he'd join us.
Oh, Minds Gaming. Oh, this is the. Okay, I know. I see where it's at. Streaming a video, and you just have to cut down the sound on that. I mean, like, and then that will get rid of the background noise. But yeah.
How does my voice sound? Does it sound reasonably all right, or is it very sort of? I've just got it.
Yeah, I can hear you good. I mean, actually, you broke up right there a little bit, but.
Yeah, I meant in terms of microphone quality, really. I'm thinking because I tried to record something yesterday and it was really noisy. You know, lots of background noise and things, and I couldn't understand why. And I put it down to the microphone, but perhaps it's not the microphone. Cutting in and out a lot here.
Yeah. No, we can't hear you. Now he has problems with his mic or something.
Oh.
We could see you, but we can't hear you. Oh, technology. Man, what was it doing? Okay, finish this. I'm like all over the place. Oh, we can hear you.
Okay. There's a thing called control room, and my volume is turned down in it. So.
That's crazy.
Oh, speaking of that Morse code thing, I seen somebody had an app on their phone, and it was for Morse code. You know, where it.
Your sound's gone again, and your picture. Hi, back.
All right. Hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I think it has to do with me plugging in my earphones. Let's see if it does it again. All right. Let's see. Device plugins.
Hello?
Yeah, I think we lost him again.
Oh, it looks like your microphone's muted on my picture.
Oh yeah, it is.
That's gone.
No, we still can hear him.
Still can't hear you.
It says your headphones on.
It's the bloody headphones.
That's weird.
Yeah, I tried to plug in with the headphone, because you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
It's
there
the
a
headphones.
microphone in the headphones? Has it got a built-in microphone in that headphones?
I don't know. I don't see one.
Right.
Let's see the control room. Oh.
Anyway, we can hear you good without the headphones and that. It's not feeding back or anything. It sounds all right.
Okay, that's what I was worried about, was the feedback.
No, it sounds great.
Well, when you were asking earlier, you sound good too. You both come through real clear over here. So.
That's great.
I only hear like maybe a little bit of static way in the background. So.
Okay.
All right. So, what are we doing right now? Are we waiting on somebody else to join, or still trying to work on technical problems, or?
I don't know. What did Minds Gaming say?
He said he's going to join us in a little while. He's got his boy.
Oh, okay.
And said, I have the kid, but he is content. May have to hop on and off.
That's fine. I do the same thing.
We'll join in a few break time, he said. I sent him the new link. Is this? I hope this is the same link that we're at.
Can I do it?
Yeah, research time.
Copy. Try this. This is the top of my page that I've got.
Wasted Talent just send me a tag on his posts, and he's gonna do a big. He's prepping for a big tag that he's gonna do.
Right.
A big.
Graffiti tag.
Yeah. You know what would be cool is if they were able to do this graffiti stuff with, say, a water-soluble paint. That way it wouldn't actually damage someone else's property.
Yeah, and I think he's trying to. I know the last time he did a big one, he did it in an abandoned place.
Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Too, but it's also, you know, like you want somebody to see it, but then also too, you kind of want to like fuck up someone's property.
Right.
Oops, the battle award with that kind of stuff. But that's what he came up with, that idea of doing the, you know how they have those political lawn signs? And that's why he did that of like, oh, I vote for Minds or whatever. Like it's like a new little campaign.
Yeah, I was wanting to make some flyers up and put them up at college that I'm going to.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Well, just doing my part.
Yeah, I know that someone used to have like this pamphlet like thing. I forgot who had it though. You like print that out and put it up on like the boards for, you know, when they have like information,
Right.
jobs or whatever. You just put it there.
That's exactly what I was planning to do.
Yeah, nice.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, close that out. Okay, now we might actually be getting somewhere. Good. I think I just helped myself. I think these hot dogs are working because the top side of the phone, the screen's even cold to the touch.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I went to the freezer and I got like a 20-pack of hot dogs out, and I've got them sitting here on my desk with my phone sitting on it, battery side down, on top of the frozen hot dogs. So what do you got to do, you know?
Yeah, that's like what we were talking about yesterday. What was the you know, technology?
Sometimes we may have to go backward in order to go forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you can get it down to absolute zero, it will become a superconductor and you won't have to use any battery.
Right. But then all the electrons will stay in place.
I don't know about that.
None of the electrons will move at that temperature level.
They won't escape out of the aerial.
Right. The radios will stop working.
Everything stops.
Yep.
Absolute zero. Yeah.
0 degrees Kelvin.
Are you ready to carry? Shall we continue on what we were talking
I'm
about?
ready.
Okay, I'm ready. You were asking about what to do next and what's the shape of the future.
Yeah, I think that's where we keep coming up a little bit short on these discussions. You know, it takes us about an hour and a half to get to that point, and then by then it's time to sign off.
All right. Well, I've been complaining a long time that the eco movement is always protesting against things and not protesting for things, because simply, really, the working people of the country, of the world, really, you know, they're going to carry on doing what they're doing unless we can show them something better. Simple as that. And it's not being done. You know, it's really not being done. We haven't got a future agenda collectively. My personal opinion, if you like, is permaculture on a global scale. And as regards a form of government, you know about talking circles?
I've heard the term.
Well, talking circles, it's a native Indian thing from the native Indians of America, and also in India. Basically, tribal people, they're living, you know, their life is centered around a fire, so they naturally sit in a circle around a fire and they'll talk to each other around that fire. And if it gets to a point where, you know, it's getting heated and everybody's talking over each other, they have a talking stick. And only one person can speak, and that's the person who holds a talking stick. And that talking stick can be a little stone, it can be a feather, it can be a stick, or it can be anything you like. You know, it could be a lighter that you've picked up if you've got a few people chatting, you know, and it's getting a bit heated. You say, right, okay, talking stick. And then that person speaks, they pass it on, the next person speaks, everybody gets a chance to speak, and everybody gets a chance to be heard. And it's a great way of, like, making sure that everybody's viewpoints are heard in a group. So if we could get rid of usury, right, or shall I say, when we get rid of usury, right, we're only working, say, half the amount of hours, so we've got plenty of time. Now, on a Friday afternoon, you could have a meeting, a talking circle meeting, between 10 and 30 people. You choose your own people to be with on that Friday afternoon. You don't have to go, but if you go, you get paid a certain amount of money. So there's a kind of a financial incentive, but you don't have to go. So then you sit down. Oh, hold on, I'm getting loads of messages coming through. I'm getting Twitter messages coming through on my phone now. Ah.
Somebody's popular.
Oh, in 2 seconds. I'm getting hundreds of them. Ah, stop it! Oh, it's all coming through on my messages. Oh, God, I can't stop it. Oh, no, what to do? Oh, hold on. I've got to go into my... Oh, I'll just turn my phone off. Let's see how I can't do that. I'm on call for jobs, so I can't turn my phone off. Twitter settings. Hang on, you have to wait for me a minute.
All right, I'll just expand on what you were saying when we were doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, well, when I'm talking, I get a lot of feedback there. Can you hear that all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that kind of what you're talking about with this talking circle, I've done it in my own family, and yeah, that's a great idea. It's kind of like I'm trying to remember gets back to the point I was going to make. So, okay, in any group or community where you've got, you know, people trying to kind of plan or line out what they need to do, and I'll use your permaculture as the example because that's something that I also feel is the way forward for us to, you know, evolve as far as bringing our communities together, you know, the individuals together in the community, in the stewardship, that's the word I'm looking for, stewardship of our environment, you know, so, and the talking stick thing, yeah, I do believe I know more what you're talking about, and so back to the permaculture. So yeah, permaculture. I lived out in Arizona for a while, and people say that there's no water out there, and I got to disagree because during monsoon season there's plenty of water. there's a bunch of lakes out there in Arizona, man-made lakes, and I know it's artificially there from, rerouting it from the Colorado River or Agua Fria or a bunch of the others, golf courses. Permaculture would help people be more responsible, more aware, and more in tune with their habitat. Because, if what's that meme I keep saying? We spend billions of dollars looking for life on another planet and trillions of dollars destroying life on this one. And, while spending our labor or exerting our labor, instead of calling it money, exerting our labor into knowing what's out there in space, while it can provide us with some good information, we need to refocus our goals on doing things to maintain our habitat here. I've often pondered the question myself, what would it take to green the great deserts, the Sahara, the Gobi, and whatnot, and what kind of, positive effects would that even have on our weather? If we were to green the Gobi and the Sahara, my theory, and I'm no great scholar on this, would be, a huge reduction in the hurricane production that seems to, take quite the toll on the North American continent, So if we were, turn the whole desert into a food forest situation, or, solar panels, or, because I've seen a couple of different ideas on that. But permaculture would also reduce I believe, the number of these mega cities, these metropolises like New York, Mexico City, Tokyo, on, and bring people back to the land. And I believe that when you have a more dispersed population, it doesn't create as much pollution. If you're able to produce your own food and maintain your own water on, your patch of ground, there's less need for travel to, other places in order to, do basic things. People will still want to travel for vacation, or, depending on their occupation, that, maybe they drive a semi-truck, probably, goods. Most people probably aren't in a position to be able to produce shoes. So, you might still have to go to a store to get a pair of shoes. But, decentralizing our population from the, inner city wasteland, and, spreading people out, and with a culture of land stewardship, would certainly improve the whole planet. It would improve everybody's health, and on and on. So
I have my own definition of permaculture, which might be a bit arrogant, but I don't care about that. I don't care what some people say about me on that level. But my definition of permaculture is using all of our splendid and amazing technology for the benefit of humanity, as it was intended by its inventors and according to law.
that sounds pretty.
I'm not a technophobe. One of the things about permaculture, people think that you have to be into permaculture, you've got to be against technology. Well, I'm not at all against technology. We just need to use it in a different way, as I say, for the benefit of humanity.
Right. And that's, I think, it's a good point. One of the things I made a point of on the show last night was, the definition of technology has kind of been narrowed down to, electronics or automobiles or whatever like that, and that's not true. Technology is basically, it's a form of doing something as well. Geoscaping, how you terraform your own property. You know, if you have a hillside, you know, like the Chinese, let's say, when they terraform those mountains into rice paddies. Well, that's a technology. Terraforming is, or, you know, and so sometimes we need to take, depending on what area you want to talk about, you have to take steps back into doing things the way they used to be done 100, 200, 500 years ago, you know, because it is a better way. And just because, you know, we have science that says, you know, that they can produce a fertilizer made from petroleum, that's not necessarily the better way. And the evidence mounting to support that is, you know, snowballing right now. You know, we might I don't know the numbers, but we might be growing more food, but it is certainly less nutritious. You know, look at the industry, the commercial poultry industry with the chickens. You know, the damn things are huge now. You know, but so there might be more substance there, but you know, there's a higher fat content, there's less protein there. The eggs that are being produced are missing, you know, nutrients that were there prior, you know, because they live in deplorable conditions and are fed basically petroleum-based food that, you know, we're destroying our health by messing with the food system in this way. You know, I seen a meme the other day. It says, you know, let us stop. I'm trying to remember how it was put. Basically, don't call food organic. Make the people who produce crap food call it chemically produced food, because organic is kind of one of those things that we've been kind of newspeaked on, because 200-300 years ago, all food, if you want to look at it that way, was organic. It's only been in recent times that food's been manipulated genetically, you know. And I'm not talking about hybridization. That's not the same thing as these people introducing genomes from other species of life into our food supply. You know, putting, I don't know, let's say spider DNA in the corn to help it repel a particular type of insect. You know, that's not the right way of going about maintaining our food supply. So. Are you there? Hello?
Hello?
There you are.
Okay. Yeah, you said the food is less nutritious, so I think that's putting it very mildly. It's actually poisonous. Which is how come they're making so much money out of the pharmaceuticals, is because they're giving everybody poisonous food. And the other thing I was going to say, I should blooming well get a notebook and write down notes. You're right, I keep forgetting what I was going to say. Oh yeah, you said it in the last bit, you know, up until a couple of 100 years ago. It was actually only after the Second World War that we started putting chemicals on the food in a major way, and it occurred because the ingredients of explosives in those days was basically phosphates and nitrates, which make explosives. And some bright spark noticed that they dropped some of these chemicals on the grass near one of their munitions factories, and the grass was growing quicker, and the weeds everything was growing quicker, and they thought, blimey, you know, we're going to be out of a job after the war because we're not going to be producing any more explosives. Perhaps we can sell it as a fertilizer to make things grow. And that was how what they call it the Green Revolution in this country, but it was the exact opposite of the Green Revolution. But after the Second World War, basically they marketed this thing, they forced it on the farmers. I mean, farmers who wanted to stay organic were put out of business. They were refused loans because all the farmers that went into it had vastly increased yield short term. So the smaller farmers who didn't want to use these chemicals were put out of business. And when they wanted a loan, when they couldn't make ends meet, they were refused. And so they put all the farmers out of business that were organic, almost all of them. And it was done viciously after the Second World War as a marketing ploy. And it's not like a couple of 100 years ago. It's only like, you know, what, 60 years ago that was done. And since then, all of our food has been produced chemically. That's what happened in this country anyway. I don't know about America, but that's what happened in this country for sure. When I spoke to old farmers about it, you know, because I was concerned about it when I used to work on the farms down in Devon, where I'm from. I'm from Devon, the West Country. You know, it's about 300 miles away from where I am now in London, and I used to work on a little farm. I know other lots of little farms around the place, and one old farmer, old boy called Harvey, he had never used chemicals on his land at all, and I ended up living on his farm in my bus that I used to live in, and we had long conversations about what happened, you know, after the Second War, because he wasn't even alive. Well, he was just about a kid at that time, but he remembered his dad going through loads of stress. But they were fortunate; they hadn't borrowed, you know, their farm was already theirs. They didn't have a mortgage to pay, so they didn't mind, you know, they could produce their own food. They didn't need to have an income, basically, apart from to pay rent and rates and electricity. So they didn't need to make a big income like some of these other farmers who had huge debts to pay, and they were foreclosed on, you know, if they didn't conform. That's what happened. Right. We're out of business. Cruel, nasty people. You know, and it's another thing. But going back to the talking circle, right? As a way forward, I think. So we meet on a Friday afternoon, right? Between 10 and 30 people of our own choosing. We choose our own little group, and we discuss what needs to be discussed at that time. And if we need a talking stick, we use a talking stick. If not, we just do it openly and informally. And then say 1 in 10 of those people is elected, right, to go to another talking circle on another day of the week. Now, if you're elected, you don't have to go, but if you go, you get paid. Same sort of thing as the first one. You don't have to go to the first meeting, but if you go, you get paid. So you go to the second one, and that will be 1/10 the number of people that were at the first one, right? So each day of the week, there'll be 1/10 less than there were the day before. So in this country, say we've got 70-something million people in the country. Say 30 million people go to a talking circle on a Friday afternoon. Then say on the following Monday, you'd have 3 million. The Tuesday would be 300,000. The Wednesday would be 30,000. The Thursday would be 3,000, and then going on to Saturday would be 300, which would be a fairly manageable meeting. Just about 300 people would be just about a manageable meeting to bring all those things that have got through those levels of discussion. So that parliament there would be elected every week from the people. So it'd be pretty much incorruptible. I don't see how anyone could corrupt themselves into being elected every week to get to the top level and corrupt it. I don't see how that could happen. But on the other hand, it wouldn't be much good for long-term planning. So you'd have to have another House of Parliament, which would be like the House of Lords. That would be the House of Commons. So you'd have a House of Lords then, which would be not Lords, but you'd be, say you got elected at the first level so many times in a year, right? However many times it was decided communally to make it. If you got elected that many times, you'd be elected to another house, where you'd get your 4-year tenure in that house. So that the second house would be elected from the first house at all levels. So you'd have different levels of government, all elected from that first house. Do you understand what I'm on about?
Right. I follow. It's just, you know, the people remaining in power too long. It's kind of like what we're trying to get away from.
Well, yeah, and also that you can't remove them. I mean, there's a blockchain system coming together as well. I saw a post about it. I've lost it. I haven't made notes. Oh, I'm so crap when I don't make notes. You just embarrass me now. I've got to start making notes. It's ridiculous. But anyways, there's a blockchain thing being used for voting, right? And there it's instant. You can remove someone instantly. If enough people vote against someone, if someone makes a stupid blunder or does something against the common interest, you know, they can be removed instantly. And then you'd have the next one in line, I suppose, would come in place, who had second most number of votes in that year or something.
Right. Everybody on their cell phone. Hey, let's get rid of Curly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm quite optimistic about. I mean, and in terms of currency, you know, what are we going to have in the future currency? I'm not in favour of getting rid of the banks. I mean, we need banks to perform certain services, but get rid of interest for a start. And I think at a certain level of management, they've all got to go and put a new management in, really, because they you know, if they actually cared about anything, they'd have done something about it by now. So I don't think they do care at the top level. They've got to be gone. They've got to go. I want to see them in the FEMA camps, hoeing weeds for their dinner. Really, I'm serious about that.
Well, I am too. I'm deadly serious. I volunteer myself to be a guard at the FEMA camp to ensure that they're going to produce for for their own food. You don't get out there and pick the carrots, you're going to go hungry tonight.
That's right, mate. That's exactly right. That's how I feel. Exactly right. Exactly the same. Yeah. Exactly. I've had that little dream in my head. I mean, you think about it. If we can get that information out to the Secret Service, is what I was on about how the Zionist banks have been financing both sides of every war, particularly the Russian and the Cold War, right? Because that's current, and there's still a lot of feelings about that. We don't want to go back too far in history. Make that information public. As I say, the Secret Services know where the buggers live, and I can quite easily see. I had an email a while ago. Again, I didn't take notes of it, and I've lost the contact. But saying that the world's secret services are actually waking up, and they're starting to cooperate with each other on this level of uniting against the bankers. And I got this obscure email from someone, and I never chased it up. I was quite scared, actually. I thought, they're something. Who knows me? This person, I don't even know them. They're sending me this message. But so I'm actually very hopeful. I am. And these people, they're intelligence agents. They're not stupid people. Once they get the information, they're going to fry with it.
Right.
Once they find out who the real enemy is.
Yeah, and hopefully our military, will do the same thing.
Well, yeah, they'd have to. It's got to be a united effort. I'm seeing it as a united global effort. They all get together in their secret group meetings or whatever, and they decide, right, we're going to do it on July the 2nd at midnight. We're going to chloroform these buggers. We're going to go into their houses. We've got the keys. We're going to go in their house, chloroform them, and they're going to wake up in the FEMA camps next morning, the whole lot of them all together. Do it all in one go. That's what I think to do.
It would have to be like that too.
Huh?
It would have to be something that was coordinated to where, like the origins of the whole Friday the 13th thing, when the Catholic Church and the Spanish king had enough of the Templars.
Right. Yeah.
Same kind of situation needs to occur. I would like to see, Nathan Rothschild or whatever his name is, Jacob Rothschild, out there picking cabbage,
I'd love to see that. I'd live for that day, honestly. Be a very happy person on that day, I will.
Yep, and I hope you're listening, you bastard.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of it. There's another issue about this, about us being all spied on. I'm glad. I hope they are listening. Because whoever's listening is fairly low down the pyramid, and they've got children, they live on the same planet. So please listen, please take notes and pass it on to your mates.
And please contact me if you have any questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know where to find me.
Yeah. Yeah. We're on the same wavelength, bro.
Yep. So
would you like to join that theatre group I'm forming? Would you like to join it?
I wish I was creative enough to kind of do stuff like that. I'm so cerebrally impaired creatively.
Well, it could be a way of unlocking that.
Well, maybe. I'm not turning the opportunity down by any means. It's just I'm letting you know that I might not be able to contribute to the creative side so much, but because I don't know. Are you looking for people that are near you, or tell me a little more about it, I guess.
No, not at all. It can be anywhere around the globe. I've fantasized about this for years, about forming an online interactive theatre company, and Skype. You can do or Google Hangouts or whatever. We can do a group call. We've all got a copy of the script. We can email it to each other. We can work on the script collaboratively. We can share online documents and all that.
A cool radio show.
Absolutely right. And then we've got enough artists, especially in Minds, there's enough people that can put some visual track on the top of it once we've done the sound. And there's our viral video that's going to tip the balance.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I turned my audio down, hopefully, because I'm getting a little feedback on my end.
Right. No, that's fine. I can still hear you.
So, yeah, I guess...
So...
Once you get the script or whatever have you, I will. I'll participate.
What's your name on Minds?
I've sent you a couple messages. It's House of Ganser.
Oh, you're House of Gangster. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. I am House of Ganser.
Oh, cool. Right. So what I'll do then is I'll find you.
Here, let me take a biological break for just a moment. I need to use the loo.
Okay.
All right. Still there?
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah, I'm House of Ganser on Minds.com.
Right. I'm just finding you now.
Yeah.
I've got to go to my theatre group and then send you an invitation. That's what I've got to do.
Okay, while you're doing that, I'm going to kind of steer us back into the anarchism show we did the other night.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start on what you were talking about with the talking circle. And if this would have been brought up last night, I would have tied it into what I had referred to as if we have an anarchist society, even within any community, there is still going to be a way of law, I guess. And what I had called it or entitled it was, the laws of customs and tradition, because every family has their own laws and customs, traditions, and I related it to how I raise my son as opposed to how my brother raises his children. His children are allowed to do things that my son isn't, and my son's allowed to do things that his children aren't. And
Yeah, right.
though, it's not my place because they're not my children, so long as they're not in danger of physical or mental harm, that it's not my place to dictate how they're raised.
Right.
But there are some common values and things that the both of us share because, we grew up in the same household together that, we pass down to our children or we modify, and then same thing, once you expand out, well, what about the neighborhood you live in?
Right.
Is there a community garden? And then if everybody has the communal garden, there's going to be some laws that are customary and traditional. Larry, he doesn't have a good back, so he doesn't bend down and pick up the cabbages, but he's got he's handy with a hoe. So traditionally, it's his custom to go out there and hoe the garden to, knock the weeds out or turn the ground over for the next planting. George, he's into composting and, and however anybody wants to structure that, and the same thing goes for even another point I brought up about marriage. Nowadays, if you were to even take away the statutory requirement for people to be 18 before they get married, that's been part of our way of doing things for so long. It's now a part of our customs and tradition that when people turn 18, that's when we normally consider they're of a age of reason or age of majority to get married. you know, and if you go to other countries presently, you know, India, let's say, they marry children off to each other, you know, and much as we have a different viewpoint on that, that's their custom and tradition, you know. So I lost my train of thought.
Well, as far as law goes, I think we only really need one law, and that's do no harm.
Right.
Everything that, you know, on that talking circle on a Friday afternoon, issues that are raised would be discussed, and the issue would be discussed as, does it do harm or not? If it doesn't do any harm, we've got no business interfering with it. If it does harm, we have a business, and we need to stop it, or educate people to act in a better way, or whatever, you know, somehow. I think that's the, you know, rather than does it conform to this or that, or the regulation made by a stupid government, just simply, did it do any harm? You know, like say a parking ticket, you park your car somewhere stupid, it's on a junction, you know, you're going to get it removed. But if you park it on the side of the road where it's not doing any harm, why are you getting a parking fine for that? It's ridiculous. Correct. You know what I mean? So it's just simply do no harm. That's the only, I think that's the only rule we need.
That really ties into that malum instance, malum prohibitum led you on to.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what I was saying. I didn't even know those terms, but that's the difference between lawful and legal.
Correct.
The natural law, the piranha fish principle and the Michael Ryan principle that I was going on about, that's the natural law, and all the rest of it is legislation or precedent. So we only need that one principle, you know, do no harm, do not harm your neighbor, and your neighbor is anyone affected by what you do. Right. It's really simple. It's going to put the entire legal profession out of business, I'm afraid.
Hey, you know what? Again, in my research, the legal system, the law society, they can go right along with the bankers into the fucking FEMA camps.
Yeah.
Because I researched it to where I'm like, you know, digging through different things, and I found in the titles of the United States Code where the American Bar Association is a federally chartered corporation that, you know, all these pirates belong to, you know. And I wrote an essay, and I don't know if I included it on the essay. I don't believe I did, but I'll go into it. What I said, what I was leaning towards is, when I'll go back to your parking ticket. When you get a parking ticket, where does the salary of this parking maid come from? It comes from the state. Okay, so you get this summons to court and to appear before a state-paid judge, and you're to defend yourself against a state-paid prosecutor. Well, in my mind, and through other things I found to validate my thought, is, you know, this is a conflict of interest. You've got three parties who are being paid by the same entity, bringing charges against you to extort your labor from you, you know, with no recourse. So, these, and if you've ever read Corpus Juris Secundum, Section 7, Chapter 4, or it's 7 and 4, I know that. It lays out quite clearly that the duties of the attorney, whether you paid him or not, his first duty is to the court, secondly to the public, and lastly to his client. Yeah. So what the hell are you even paying this bastard for? Yeah. You know, because he's just playing their game. I know I've been to court enough times before I woke up, you know, where, you know, before the proceedings, you know, talk to the public defender, you know, public pretender, and he's like, you know, I can talk to the judge and cut you a deal, you know. And I'm like, yeah, man, that sounds great, you know. And, you know, now it's like, wow, how foolish is that? You know, these guys all work for the same entity. They all play golf together and, you know, rape little foster kids together and whatever else, you know, that it's a closed union shop. It's a violation of the Glass-Steagall Act. You know, and I can't go into that too much because I'm not real knowledgeable on that, but I've heard it stated that way by a gentleman by the name of Rodney Dale Class, and he's real good on YouTube if you want to look him up at some point. to where we can't get justice from the system because it's one-sided, you know?
Yeah, it is totally. I mean, that's why I'm not really interested in going through all the procedures to bring these people to account. I'd much rather make the information public, and then we've got the strong weight of public opinion. I mean, already, you know, the state of mind of the people has changed from 40 years ago. When I started campaigning about the environment nearly 40 years ago, people would say, "What are you talking about, you idiot? There's no problem with the environment. You know, you haven't even got a degree. What are you talking about? You know, you stupid." Getting in the March of Progress, all that, you know, there isn't a problem. Was basically the problem. Was basically the state of mind. If you talk to people now about it, about the environment, they'll say, "Yes, mate, there's a problem, but I can't do anything about it." Right. So, in terms of law, in terms of common law, that's changed the whole situation from negligence, which is injuring your neighbour without knowing, into recklessness, which is injuring your neighbour knowingly, which is actually criminal. And any contract to commit crime is criminal, is unenforceable. Right. You can't have a legal contract to commit crime. So, any contract to damage or destroy the environment unnecessarily or unreasonably, obviously we do some damage, but any unnecessary, unreasonable, any contract to do that is a void, unenforceable contract based on fraudulently created virtual money. Right? So that's any contract basically between the IMF, the World Bank, any multinational company, any national government. They're all contracts to destroy the planet. Right? So all their contracts are off. Right? On that simple basis.
Agreed. Right?
The crime they're committing in this country, I don't know what the equivalent of America. Shall I continue down this line, or sorry, I'm losing. Maybe I'm diverting. I always do this in a conversation.
You covered this on our last show.
Yeah, I do that. I tend to do that. I'm afraid I can't help it.
It's all right. When you know something and you're used to explaining it to people, you know, I do the same thing. You know, I cover the same material repetitiously. So you want to jump onto another kind of topic? Maybe jumpstart this again. One of the things we talked about with the volunteerism, it's anarchist society is a voluntary society, and that's something that we're not being exposed to living in the United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, United States, or wherever, where citizenship is being forced upon people without their consent. Because if you're being forced to be a part of a group, and you don't even have informed consent about being a citizen, and yet you're being held to these statutes created by this illegitimate government, that's indentured servitude. That's slavery, because you're not even being allowed your right of self-determination. That's why I tell people I'm not a United States citizen. I do not, I defy anyone who wants to tell me otherwise. I'm not an American because I don't recognize a landmass as having, any ties over me. I am simply an earthling. And that's short of being a man as well. That's, the label I choose, because being an earthling, puts me in a relationship with every man, woman, and child on the planet. And, if I want to, and that's probably part of the non-aggression principle too, is, once you segregate yourself off into some sort of group that, you're basically telling everyone that's not within your little group that you're better than they are. And these people that are in these groups that believe that they're better than everyone else usually end up trying to exert some sort of force everyone else to either, comply to their standards or to support them in some sort of, Federal Reserve scheme or what have you.
Yeah. Well, it's, the fact that you this thing about the birth certificate, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously an unlawful contract, because you can't possibly be of an age to. It's done as you're born. You're not in any way, shape, or form. For any contract to be valid, both parties have to be cognizant of all terms of the contract, right?
Informed consent.
Exactly. So it's off as well. That whole thing's off as well, isn't it? Just on that simple basis. I don't see we need to get any complications about all this stuff. It's all unlawful. Once we establish what the law really is, I don't know. I just keep coming back to the same point. We've got to make this information public.
Right. You know, and thankfully there's also a bunch of other people that are doing the same thing.
Yeah. What? It's just crazy. There's no need for any of it. It's got to stop. That's all there is to it. It's just got to stop.
Right. And also, I believe that citizenship violates the principle of self-ownership. You know, this is my body, you know, and if I choose to exert myself into a particular form of labor in order to receive something of a commonly perceived value, in order to trade that for other goods and services that I, you know, cannot or am not able to provide for myself, you know, then I don't feel that there's any liability placed upon me just because I dwell within this area that I have to forfeit a part of that to, you know, this nameless or this faceless entity. You know, this tax, that's another thing. Taxation needs to stop right alongside usury, because, you know, people say, oh, well, you know, if you don't want to be taxed, how is this, that, and the other going to be done? You know, well, you can, you know, once we have a cultural revolution as well, to where people stop being so damn selfish and lazy, which I don't see happening anytime soon, you know, which is kind of where, like, I don't know if you follow Freeborn Angel, you know, and his, you know, everything is free, just keep working. Well, we're a long ways from that. You know, that's the ideal, and I would like to see us get to that point. But, you know, there's a lot of things involved in that, especially the central planning and direct democracy stuff that I see associated with that line of thinking that I really don't like. But, you know, you got the guys that are out there building the roads. Well, if you use that road too and you see a pothole, and I know we covered this, you know, are you competent to fix the road? Well, you know, be that here or there, you know, maybe we should all be competent in that degree or facility or whatever. I can't think of the right word, but
Well,
to
the apprenticeship. If the apprenticeship system was still in place, if it hadn't been completely
abolished,
sabotaged, abolished, sabotaged, whatever, it's deliberately, you know, that's the strength, you know. I was talking with a friend of mine. His godson is a pilot in America, in the Air Force in America, and he flies those what they call Osprey vertical takeoff aircraft. He flies one of them apparently.
right?
He showed me, he's been over to America just lately, my boss actually, who I work for, and he's been over there, and he showed me a video footage of his godson flying this thing to the beach where they were all waiting for him, and he managed to get a couple of minutes out apparently, and he flew this thing right past them and did all sort of stunts and then flew off again, waving out the window and everything. So it's real. But he was saying that in the Air Force, you know, they have first of all they learn how to fly. Then they go out flying and they do some missions, and then they start teaching. And the thing about it is that they always need new airmen, you know, to fly these things. So they have the airmen existing. They're the ones, the best ones to teach. Not some teacher that's been to a college and got a teaching degree. You know, you can't go to college and get a teaching degree and teach people how to fly helicopters or airplanes. You've got to do it first. And that is, you know, I was really encouraged by that, because it still exists in certain places. On a sailing ship at sea, it exists. You can't become a captain of a sailing ship without serving time. You can, on a steamship, you know, you just got to point it in the right direction, it will go there. But on a sailing ship, it's a different kettle of fish altogether, and you have to do your apprenticeship. This is one of the main things that has to come back, is the apprenticeship system, and it's how the Masons were originally constituted. You know about that?
Yes. Yeah, it goes back to the Temple of Solomon. Right. His three apprentices killed him because he wouldn't pass on the secret of the whatever to them.
Oh, I didn't even know that story.
Yeah. The Hiram Walker or Hiram Abiff. Hiram Abiff was the chief mason, and he had 3 apprentices, and they wanted the secret, whatever they call that, and he wouldn't give it to them, so they killed him. And
Right.
part of the Masonic tradition, when you advance in your degree, I don't know too much the exactness, but when you attain 1 degree, you actually take part in a ritual self-sacrifice of being Hiram Abiff himself or whatever before you ascend into the next degree.
Okay, yeah, I've heard about that. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's where that originates, back at the Temple of Solomon.
Okay. Well, to me, the history of Masons goes back to the first time somebody put a couple of rocks outside the cave entrance to shelter them from the wind. And the development of that was somebody made a circle of rocks when they ran out of caves and put a roof on it. And that's how far it goes back. You know, a mason is someone who works with stone, and people have been working with stone ever since then, whenever that was. Yeah, it comes down to passing on knowledge. It does. Passing it on, passing the experience on the best way you can.
Right. And that's where the whole guild system came in from too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they're still, the apprentice served people on this planet are still the most powerful people on the planet. I mean, you know the history of how the Masons got taken over by the Rothschilds?
Yeah, through the Templar Knights, wasn't it?
No. I've got mixed feelings about these Templar Knights. You know, they certainly formed the first banks. Whether they charged interest or not, I think they maybe did later on. And the other thing is, did they print more money than they had wealth? In other words, did they breach the trust? I actually hold the Masons and the Templars in quite high regard, but they've been corrupted since the banks took over. I kind of blaming everything on the banks, really, I suppose, but I do think they are responsible. And I know for a fact.
The lawyers that protect them.
Sorry?
The banks and the lawyers that protect them.
Yeah, at the highest level. I mean, I'm dodging about all over the place, not keeping much of a focus in this conversation, but really anyone above a certain income should be immediately arrested and face public trial to account for A, how they got their money, and B, what they're doing with it. And that level of income's got to be quite high, you know, whatever level it is, but, you know, up in the millions probably, but they've all got to be taken out and sorted out, the wheat from the chaff. I mean, there are people that are wealthy that are actually, you know, helping us out. I know there are.
Yeah.
So it's not. So we have to somehow, in this new age, you know, we have to be able to sort the wheat from the chaff. And I mean, anyone who's got the benefit of humanity at heart, who's wealthy, wouldn't probably mind being detained for a couple of days while they account for themselves.
Right.
You know.
I agree. That's where, you know, a lot of people want to shit on capitalism, you know, and what it is what if they had their facts right, in my opinion, would be that they would be shunning corporatism, where these corrupt individuals who are in these positions of fiscal power, you know, are buying these politicians and these, you know, judges off in order to facilitate their own agenda, you know, because capitalism, in my view, extends to every form of voluntary interaction that, you know, for the exchange of goods or services, you know, whether it be bartering, you know, or trade, you know, it's not exclusive to the exchange of, you know, Federal Reserve notes or the British pound.
No, not at all. I agree with you. I mean, to my mind, like I say, keeping it simple, an example of capitalism is 2 blokes working on a building site, mixing concrete with a shovel by hand, right? And one of them goes down the pub and gets drunk every night. The other one saves up and buys a concrete mixer. That's capitalism. You know, it's saving up some capital and investing it in your business to make your life easier. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, as long as you're not harming anyone else. It's just do no harm. There's no harm in doing that. You know, saving up some money and buying a cement mixer, there's no harm in doing that. So it's not. So why is it wrong to do that? It can't be wrong. And the other thing about anti-capitalism, you know, it's a damn stupid way to go, because it immediately alienates all the self-employed people. who are the most inventive, courageous, out-of-the-box, rebellious, independent-minded, free-thinking people by nature of being self-employed, immediately alienated all of them. And the whole anti-capitalist movement is so stupid.
It's
Honestly,
inverted.
it's stupid. And I think it's been done deliberately.
It is. It's
I think the Zionists have got
warfare operation.
Huh?
It is I firmly believe it's a psychological warfare operation.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's to, what it is to keep people who are in control, to keep that, to remain in control, because then you can't have the entrepreneurs, get a large piece of the pie themselves to put, to be competition for these people. Like Rockefeller said, competition is a sin. So once you've made it, and if you can keep everybody else from making it, well, then your power is assured.
Right.
So,
but our own psyops, this thing about the theatre business, right? I was saying earlier, right, that 40 years ago people would say there's no problem, and now they say there's a problem, but can't do anything about it, right? That's a tremendous change. That's come about through the media, right, which is owned by the Rothschilds. Okay, now that has not been a top-down order from the Rothschilds saying, "Oh fuck, we've messed up a bit. We better tell everybody who made a mess with the planet. We better have an eco-friendly movement." They've tried to discredit it and put it out of business every way they can. It's still thriving, even though it's misguided and barking up the wrong tree a lot of the time. But still, it's still thriving. And so I think the Rothschilds, even though they own the media, have largely or increasingly lost control of it at a grassroots level, because it's told everybody, and that's changed everything from negligence into recklessness. So, okay, now we've got this situation where everybody knows there's a problem and they can't do anything about it. So they want to talk about it even less because they can't do anything about it, and it hurts their heads to talk about it, right? But the next thing that's got to happen before there's going to be any change on a material level is that thought has got to change. It's changed already from there's no problem into there's a problem, I can't do anything about it. Next thing it's got to change is there's a problem, we can do something, let's do it, right? That's what's got to happen before there's going to be any meaningful social change, right? And that's got to happen on a massive level. Let's do this instead. It's like, we're not getting rid of technology, we're not getting rid of money, we're just saying, right, okay, we're on a ship, we're at sea, we're heading towards the rocks, we better just change course. We don't need to sink the ship, we don't need to smash the engines, we don't need to shoot the crew, well, most of them, only a few, the captain and a couple of others will go and end up in the brig. We just got the ship and we change course. We take the technology we've got in the broadest sense of the word. Using technology includes money, includes ways we use our mind, even that's technology in a way. In the broadest sense, we take our technology and we just change direction. And the mechanism for doing that is a state of emergency for the environment. But the point of my piece of theatre is to make that change from there's a problem, I can't do anything about it, into there's a problem, we can do something, let's do it. Okay, so that's what I'm interested in. And to do it in a way where there's as little blame and recrimination as possible. I'm really pissed off and angry about certain people on this planet, and so are you. And but then a lot of people will include all the police in that, and all the people who go to war in that, and they'll say, well, they're evil people because they want to kill each other, or they're evil because. But most of 99% of those people have been misled. They've been educated in a corrupt education system and misinformed, exactly. And if you've got the wrong information in your head, you're going to make the wrong choices. So we change the information in people's heads, right? And permaculture is the magic word, I think, for that. Oh yeah, blame. That's what I was talking about. You were talking about that earlier in a different, slightly different context, about voluntarism, right?
Right.
What we voluntarily do in our life, basically, I think, is to attempt to be happy, right? That's what we're all trying to do. Everybody's trying to do that in one way or another. Either you're going towards something you want or away from something you don't want, or you're going to stay where you are, right? So to be happy, we need to be healthy in general, right? I mean, if you're unhealthy and you're happy, if you're healthy, you'd just be happier. Put it that way.
Right. It's reciprocal.
Yeah, but it's essential. To be happy, you need to be healthy, and to be healthy, you need a healthy planet, right? So that's just pure self-interest. Okay. And when you talk about the environment to people, a lot of the time they'll say, oh, people are too selfish, they don't care, right? Which is what you said, but it's not true. They're not selfish enough. People have lost sight of their true self-interest.
I like that.
It is in everybody's pure self-interest to have a healthy planet to live on. That's such an obvious thing to say, but it's so not dealt with, that issue of selfishness. Selfishness has been put into a sin. You're not supposed to be selfish. We damn well are supposed to be selfish, and we're supposed to be selfish in our true self-interest, which is to be happy and healthy.
That's a true paradigm shift, what you just said right there.
I know it is, right? And it gets better, right? It gets better, right? Because this is going to eliminate 99% of blame out of the whole issue, right? So so we're saying, we've agreed, right? It's in our pure self-interest of everybody on this planet to have a healthy planet to live on. That's obvious, right? So let's imagine for a minute we've achieved that, right? But we're still surrounded by sick, miserable people for some reason, or we're still not happy, right? So therefore, it is in our pure self-interest to be on a healthy planet surrounded by happy, healthy people. And that is the pure self-interest of every single person on the planet.
I totally agree with that.
Right? So, therefore, anything I do in my pursuit of happiness, which is everything I'm doing, anything I do in my pursuit of happiness, which interferes with the health of the planet I live on, or the health or the happiness of the people around me, is making me less healthy and less happy. And if that is true, then it must be a mistake, because the reason I'm doing that thing is because I want to make myself happy. Right? So what I'm saying then on that basis is all of the abuse, without exception, on the planet is a mistake, because it's not making the abusers happy. Right?
Yeah, it's not fulfilling.
Okay, so if it's a mistake, there's no blame. Right? We can't blame ourselves, and we can't blame anybody else ever again for anything, in theory. Right? I've known this for a while now. This came to me I don't know how it came. I think it was a result of a spliff, probably. It came to me in a flash one day, and since then I've known that. And like at that point in time, 90% of the blame that I felt against the police, the government, you know, on the level, not at the very top level, I've still got a lot of blame and anger to deal with about those people. But most of the people that I have to deal with, I don't blame them anymore about anything. Right? And imagine when I meet, say, a police officer, right, which I do quite frequently, because I go out of my way to talk to them about the law. If I've got the attitude in my eyes and my body language, you cunt, you fucking fascist bastard, or whatever, right? They're going to feel that immediately, and the whole conversation is going to be completely different to what conversation where my body language and everything I'm saying is we've got a fucking mess on our hands. What are we going to do to sort it out? Right, it's a totally different conversation.
Yeah, I know what you were saying the last time when you kind of talked on the subject that, you know I got a long ways to go before I'm able to do it, but to come across to the officer or whomever, they're the ones who are already empowered by the establishment to make the great change, and they just need to be informed and have their own paradigm shift to understand that, you know, they even bear a greater responsibility and a greater ability to make a positive change.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's how I feel. That's what's in my head when I talk to them.
I'm not there yet. I'm still very angry.
Yeah. Why? Huh?
I said I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. I don't know. I've had enough run-ins, you know, with just even being pulled over on the side of the road, you know, being accused of, you know, violating some arbitrary statute and having to, you know, forfeit the fruits of my labors to the system, you know, which perpetuates it, you know, that, yeah, it's going to take me some time to, you know, go ahead.
Let's do a little role play, right? You be the police, you be the copper, right? And I'll be you, but I'll be me being you. I'll give you some responses. Give me some of their lines they come at you with, and I'll give you some responses.
Like what? Because I come at them with the, you know, I tell them about the different laws and stuff that they're supposed to enforce, and they're clueless. They don't want to hear nothing. Okay. You know, I tell them when they pull me over, do you know why I pulled you over?
No, I don't.
Well, I caught you speeding back there.
Oh, I was speeding. I was going over the speed limit, yeah.
Okay, so license and registration.
So I hand it over.
See, I don't do that because I don't have that.
All right. Well, in that case, I would, at that point, if I didn't have a license or registration, I'd say, when you said, are you speeding? I'd say I was protecting life and property and upholding the law.
That would be very good.
That's what I'd say to him, right? And then I'd demonstrate that to him on the grounds of environmental activism, the threat being as serious. And the next question would, he'd then say, what do you mean? Right? He's got very little else he can say at that point. Right? What do you mean? Because I've just quoted his oath of office. I don't know. You have to find out what your oath of office is in America.
Oh, I've got it wrote down.
Oh, what is it? Can you quote it to me?
I'd have to dig through my notes. I'm sorry.
Roughly?
To faithfully discharge the duties of my office, to protect the safety of the public,
right.
And the property of something.
Right. It's the same thing. Protect life and property and uphold the law.
Right. Right. It's basically the same thing.
Yeah. So I'm saying to them. So I'm saying to him. I'm saying to you as the officer. Right. I was protecting life and property and upholding the law, officer. Right. And you go, what do you mean? Right.
Right.
That's what he's going to say. That's what they always say when I ask that. They say, what do you mean? Right. It's funny because then I tell them. Right? I say, well, I'd ask him now. I say, what would you consider is more serious? The threat of environmental damage as a whole on this planet, or the threat of world war? Which one's more serious?
Right.
And
covered that.
He's right. So he's got to agree they're of a similar magnitude, and he's got to agree that the threat of environmental damage is a real and present threat. I'm talking in his language about that law that he understands. But I use those words, right? Real and present threat. That sets off alarm bells in his head straight away, right? So it's that serious. It's a real and present threat, and it needs to be dealing with now. And that's what I'm doing. That's why I was speeding, officer, because I was in a hurry.
Right.
Well, that's why I parked there. I was on my way to get some photocopied documents made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're an activist, which you are, mate, I know you are, right?
Yes.
Then 24/7, right? 360 days a year, right?
Oh, I eat, live, breathe, and sleep this.
Me too, right? So then, whatever you're doing, if they stop you in the course of doing anything, all right, I'm smoking a spliff, right?
Right.
So you be the officer again.
Sir, do you know why I've detained you?
No.
Well, I suspect that you might be using a controlled substance.
You mean this cannabis here?
Exactly. You admit that this was cannabis.
I was using it. I was using it in a lawful manner, sir.
Would you care to explain yourself as how using an illegal substance is lawful?
Well, officer, I hope you've got a few minutes because this I can't explain it in 5 words. You know, it's a little bit of, but it's something that a 10-year-old can understand. Any 10-year-old child can understand, and I can assure you, officer, that it will stand up in the High Court as well. So, right, you know what I'm going to say to him now. I'm going to start with the piranha. I'm going to start, having given myself the space, right?
Right.
Speak, right. I'm going to start with the piranha fish straight
Right.
away, right? He can't argue with any of that stuff, right? Then I'm going to go into Michael Ryan shooting people in a public place, right? And he's going to go, fuck me. And at this point, they're normally saying, well, they never told us that in law college. I've had them crying in front of me, hard men, ex-Marines, right? Crying right in front of my eyes when I've told them this shit, right? They are protecting the lives and the property of the people that are destroying the planet they and their children live on. And they're upholding unlawful legislation which allows multinational companies to carry on doing it. Right? When you put it to them in those terms, suddenly you have changed from a drug-taking, AIDS-infested, won't work, can't work, menace to society, terrorist, eco-terrorist, blah, 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 whatever else they perceive us as, right? You change from that, and he's looking at you.
Role model that they should be living up to your standard.
Well, I mean, I try not to, I don't blame them personally in any way. The blame has gone out of me as regarding the police. I used to be very angry when I was talking to them, but when I realized this thing about blame, I'm no longer angry because I've got a different perspective on it. So I can actually talk to them on a very deep level, very quickly. Without the blame, it's so easy. With the blame is so much resistance, right?
Right.
Can't talk to them. So all these people, all these activists going around, hate the police and all this, right? You know, I understand why people feel like that. I've felt it myself, but it is so counterproductive to the revolution. Right? We need to get the police on our side. We're never going to go around get that happen by calling them names and throwing rocks at them. Right?
Right.
we need to do something radical, right, which involves the police, right, like some kind of action. I mean, the whole world is a theatre and we're actors on it. You know, we can produce this little bit of theatre I'm talking about, but we can also do other things as well. And we can do it in a sense of a performance piece, right, which gets around a lot of regulations. And there's a man called Augusto Boal. He's died now. He's a Brazilian writer and director of theatre. Have you heard about him?
No.
He wrote a book called Theatre of the Oppressed. And it was all about revolutionary theatre. He went to Italy at one point with his group of people, and the local town where he went was under the rule of a mayor who was a tool of the mafia, right? And all the local towns in the area have been getting workers' co-ops together and being very successful and happy and working together and everything else. And this mayor wouldn't allow them to do it, and he had the backing of the mafia to do it, right? So Augusto Boal turns up in this town and does this bit of theatre where obviously all the townspeople have been trying various different ways to get this co-op ethos invoked and failing, right? So the piece of theatre goes through all these different ways they've tried and failed, and it ends up with failure, what's happened, and they're all sitting there really depressed. And then Augusto Boal gets up and he says, right, now we're going to carry this performance on, only we're going to continue the discussion and we'll see what the result is. Well, the performance went on overnight because what they did, they introduced people from the audience to play the parts, and they got them all talking to each other, and the mayor was there as well, watching what was happening right in front of his eyes, watching his whole authority disappear. The next day they had their workers' co-op sorted out just by a piece of theatre. So I know how powerful it's called Theatre of the Oppressed. It's probably online PDF now. Augusto Boal, B-O-A-L or B-A-O-L. I can never remember it's A-O or O-A. Can't remember. But I'd started writing theatre along those lines myself when someone said to me, oh, you've been studying Augusto Boal? And I said, no, who's he? And I got this book and I thought, oh my God, I didn't even know anyone else was doing it at all at that point.
Here I thought it was so great and it's already been taken.
Well, it just proves that it works. I mean, you look at his work.
Right. I get it. Yeah.
But yeah, I was a bit peeved actually that someone had done it before me.
But you know what? That I have found when I've had, certain personal epiphanies and I get to talking to someone and they go, oh yeah, this, that, and the other, so-and-so. And it's like, wow, okay, well, yeah, there's that moment of like, being trumped, but again, it's kind of like validation that the things that the conclusion that you're coming to are being validated, and that feels, far supersedes, trying to take credit for something, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And that's another whole issue about how our emotions arise as a result of our thoughts, right? If we have different thoughts, we'll have different emotions. A feeling is something that comes to us from outside. We sense it with our five senses or our sixth sense, that's a feeling. But an emotion is generated inside us and it's generated by our mind. For example, I live in this truck here, right? It doesn't even lock properly. I can, hold on. Gyro Master's just texted me. She's going to join us in a minute, I expect.
Right on.
She said she was out on the beach, missed the call, unfortunately. I said it's still on.
Is that Boomeister, you said?
Yeah, Gyro Master. Gira?
That's
Gira.
all.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Gira, yeah. But I heard her on that other show that you gave me the link to, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And she was on that, wasn't she?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's awesome. I don't know why. I've got no clue when these things are all happening,
If once I get better at the production side of it, getting it set up like I did today with Satori's help, I'll be able to facilitate, hey, tomorrow, about such and such time, I want to, get a channel panel going and, be able to do it seamlessly. Cause, we messed around for about 2 hours trying to get it right, between, not knowing how to set it up and my phone burning up on me, which it's doing a pretty good job of thawing this pack of hot dogs, I must say. But
He says she's got family stuff still going on. Only came online to check updates. I'll definitely try and join some more in the future. So, and we smiled at each other. I love this community, mate. I'll tell you what, it's the best in the world.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Without a doubt.
Awesome.
Well, the only thing that I might, because I'm not a part of it, that I would have to say, and I'm going to find it real quick here, because I told about the guy last night and on another show, and his name is Dean Clifford, and he is part of a Earth. See if it comes up as that. He and a group have created their own social media site. There it is. Let me make 100% sure before I spout it out here. But they got a website, and I'm trying to bring it up here, called gotfreedom.is, and I think this is the right one. Yes, it is. Okay, I'm going to jump off onto this tangent for a minute here.
Yeah.
It's gotfreedom.is.
Text me the link. Put the link in there.
Yeah, I'll do it right now. But in the interim, I'm going to go ahead and just read this. Where's the panel chat? There it is. Paste. Go. There we go.
Got it.
It says Got Freedom is a members-only social network that provides a private, secure, and censorship-resistant environment. Our mission, Got Freedom, is dedicated to providing a private, secure, and censorship-resistant resource for activists, freedom fighters, and individuals. How is Got Freedom different? Got Freedom is 100% ad-free, censorship-resistant, and community-driven. One of Got Freedom's best features is eliminating the need for multiple services. Imagine combining your WordPress, blog, forums, instant manager, Facebook profile, and social groups all in one cohesive censorship-resistant platform. That's what it offers. Who uses it? Activists, freedom fighters, private individuals, and groups. Organizations like Dean Clifford's Earth Stewardship Cooperative rely on us to keep their memberships or the members connected and secure. So,
all right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna see if I can find, but that's another social media site that I, short of having been on it, that probably parallels the Minds community. Now, he's got a website that tells more about the Earth Stewardship Cooperative, but it's exactly what you were talking about with the permaculture. Because in one of his videos, if you look him up on YouTube, he talks about a farm that him and his group, or whatever, got together and purchased a farm, and that's where he now gets his beef. Right. And it's all non-hormone, no vaccine beef that is there's even I'm sure the hay or whatever they feed the cattle, isn't been exposed to any sort of herbicide, pesticide, or fertilizer, that isn't natural, So, and that's where, is this it right here? Solutions for seeing. So there's people that are actually moving forward on this, and I had the opportunity to get involved, but my circumstances prevented me from running off to Canada and, getting involved in the first person. You know what I mean? So I'm not finding his actual website on it. But it's called the Earth Stewardship Cooperative.
Okay, I've got gotfreedom.is.
Yeah.
I've got that one. The other one is Dean Clifford's one, is it? Earth Stewardship. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you could probably get on YouTube. Let me see if I can find it real quick.
Yeah, I found links to him on YouTube.
Okay. The dude, I really look up to everything he's doing.
Right.
He did like 13 or 14 months in jail, like a year or so ago, because he wouldn't acquiesce to the system.
Right.
And he's real successful at getting all these charges and stuff, not just dropped, but expunged from his record.
Right.
He's been in fist fights with cops that have, like, he was on his own property and his truck got stuck, and he was trying to get the truck loose, and he's probably under constant surveillance, this guy, and some cop came onto his property and was telling him that he was driving recklessly or whatever it was, and Dean tried to explain the situation to him, and on and on, if you were to find the video, and the two got in a fight, and however many counts of assault on a public servant, blah, 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 have all been dropped and expunged from the record, so. But yeah, in my opinion, he's definitely headed, or he's like maybe one step ahead of what, we're doing right here. He's actually laying the groundwork for a sustainable permaculture, or anarchist organization or community, he's setting an example, maybe what we're trying to achieve ourselves,
Yeah, I mean, the more examples there are, the better it is, because we can point to them and say, look, it works.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But it does work. It vaguely works. We're talking about...
the thing is, it worked. It worked since the dawn of time until, certain things occurred historically that allowed, bad elements to hijack the whole system and start running the long con on us that it isn't the right way to do things.
Yeah. It's taken a long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you seen that video? Have you heard of the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine?
No.
Really good video from one of their doctors. It's called Chocolate, Cheese, Meat, Milk and Sugar.
Okay.
It's so worth watching. Are you vegetarian or anything like that at all?
No.
Probably will be after you watch this film.
I doubt it. I understand that there's, unsustainable practices, but, again,
I guarantee, right, if you watch this film, you'll think twice before you eat meat again.
I don't know.
It's not about it being unsustainable. It's from entirely a self-interested point of view, for your self-interest. You won't be doing it for any moral reasons. You'll be doing it because, I don't want to do that anymore. Shit. And it's not because of any thoughts of cruelty to animals or anything, or they're going to kill the animals. It's none of that at all. It's purely on health grounds. The truth will probably, I don't know, you might know it already, but it's awesome. I'm just trying to find a link for it.
Well, I know eating this unhealthy, like you said, it's poison. It's not even that it's unhealthy, it's poison. I made that video a couple days ago about getting a soda soda machine, a lot of data being collected, but taking it a step further, if not even just the contents of the can, but simply using an aluminum vessel to store food or drinks in, makes you susceptible to Alzheimer's disease once the aluminum gets in your body. I don't even want to cook, when I cook, I don't even want to use tin foil anymore, or aluminum foil.
I never use it. I've used it for years. But even every time you open a beer can and drink from it, that's the aluminium is exposed to the alcohol and it dissolves it straight away.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's lethal. It's fucking lethal. Right.
So I drink my beer from a freaking glass bottle, man.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, I prefer German beer too, man, with the German purity law, but that's a different tangent.
I like Guinness.
Yeah, my brother's a Guinness drinker.
But actually, my favourite is real ale. I don't know if do you have bitter over there? It's like a dark kind of beer.
Right.
Do you have that in America?
Is that what it's called, real ale?
Yeah, that's what we call it. Well, I mean, like bitter, a pint of bitter. Do you drink bitter over there?
No. I don't
like lager's like a very light colored beer, isn't it?
Oh, I usually drink like the German Weissen beers, the light colored beers.
Yeah. So halfway between that and a Guinness in color will be it's like a dark brown.
Yeah, like a Dunkel.
You can still see through it, but it's dark, quite dark. Right? It's dark cider. And it's made out of hops and wheat and malt and barley. It's lovely. It's a lovely drink. Best bitter.
I can't do the bitter beer, man. But because all you could get was this beer in aluminium bloody kegs coming from the brewery. Right, at one point, it all went to them. They took over all the small breweries, right, and all the small breweries, same as the farms. Right, they all went out of business. It all became corporate chemical beer, right, chemical everything. And produced from their chemical farms, right, to give us chemical beer that's going to make us ill. It's got to be intentional. It is. I think, even if it isn't, I'm still going to label it.
I think it is intentional. This is the first time I've actually thought about it. Actually, all that is intentional. It's not a mistake. It is a mistake because even if I have an intention to do something that's going to cause evil in the world, because I think I'm going to make myself happy by doing it, that's still a mistake to have that intention.
And especially once you've been exposed to the knowledge that what you're doing is harmful, if you continue to do it, it's still intentional.
Well, it becomes criminal then, doesn't it?
It's not just it's no longer negligence.
That's right, exactly. It's once you know, and that's the point about the whole thing about everybody knows there's a problem with the environment now. It's changed it from negligence into recklessness.
Yep.
And some of it is intentional.
Oh yeah, look at all the fracking going on. I heard about the UK all the time. Fracking is now like a huge thing over there. It's been going on in the United States for 100 years now.
Wait, do you know the difference between modern fracking and like what you could call traditional fracking that goes back to the 1900s? Modern fracking.
I used to work for Halliburton for a little while, so I'm pretty familiar with it.
It's a completely different technology.
Yeah.
Right? Horizontal drilling. Right, the original fracks were in a vertical well, right, and that's how it was up until about 2004 when they started fracking in Dimmock in Pennsylvania, doing the horizontal drilling.
Yep.
I don't know, but anyway, there's this guy on the internet, Anthony Ingraffia. Have you ever heard of him?
No.
Oh, mate, you want to watch? He was one of the development engineers, developing the engineering to do it, right? So he knows it inside out. He worked for Halliburton at that level of being a research development engineer. Right, and he's got slides of the experiments they did, how they, he goes through the whole process. And the main thing about fracking, which is, there's a few main things about it. To frack, it's like putting water down there at high pressure, right, and shocking it, right. That's what they do at the time. Right. So doing it down a single vertical well, which isn't all that deep, it might be half a mile, might be a mile deep, right, is one thing, which is a 4-inch pipe when it gets down there. So pushing that water through that pipe, you know, you put water through a hose pipe, the longer the hose pipe is, the slower it comes out at the end because of friction of the water in the pipe. Well, it's friction.
Yeah.
You know, imagine putting water at whatever thousands of pounds pressure over a length of pipe, 4-inch pipe. The pressure is going to drop, right, by the time you get to the end. So at the front end, it's got to be really high pressure to get it to the end, right? And you know, with horizontal fracking, you're talking about it's a mile down and then it's 2 miles along, right? So it's 3 miles of pipe to get that water at high pressure down there too. So you know the risks of pipe leaking when they're doing that process is high. You know the joints are only screwed together; they're not welded.
Yeah, like I said, I used to work for Halliburton on a cement crew, and
Right.
you know,
Oh, right, because that's the main issue. The cement is the main issue that they can't solve.
right?
You know that.
Yes.
Well, you're one of the few people that know that.
Like I said, you know, not only am I just aware of it, you know, through my own research, but I have firsthand experience, you know, working out there in the field.
Right. Well, in that case, you would be the absolutely ideal person to do a little piece of theatre about that issue. Yeah.
I guess so. Yeah.
Have you watched my lumberjack story?
I haven't got around to it yet. I keep meaning to. Can you throw me a link on here? Because it kind of got lost in the news feed.
I'll do better than that. Well, yeah, I will certainly do that. Where is it? Oh,
Yeah, you didn't know I was House of Ganser, huh?
No.
Well, hopefully I've put some informational stuff up there for you.
I'll pay more attention from now on. It's different when you talk to someone, isn't it?
Right. Well, it's like last night when I was talking to Stone Archer, she said something about, you know, she'd been subscribed to my channel for a long time, you know, really liked it, you know, and she believed that I had been on her page or channel for a while. So, you know, after the show, I looked it up, and sure enough, you know, and like I told her, you know, when I get new subscribers, I generally go on their channel and scroll through it and, you know, comment on stuff that, you know, to comment on it, you know, to help drive the comment culture that I think is so important on Minds, that we really need to keep pushing that, the comment culture, you know, instead of just the gold fishing of, you know, all the memes and all the.
Oh, no, it's the comments is what makes it live.
What's that?
Comments and the interaction from the comments is what makes it live. It's the life of it.
Right.
You know, it really is.
I'm going to go ahead and copy that. So I went on her page last night, or channel last night, and I, you know, commented up a bunch of stuff on her channel there. So hopefully if she's listening to this, you know, or sees it on her page, kind of goes through and, you know, continues with the dialogue, because that's what I'm trying to do, you know. Like you said, we got to get this information out here. And, you know, the memes, they do a good job of kind of like bringing awareness to stuff. But if that's where you stop, you know, is by looking at someone's meme and going, huh, thumbs up, remind, you know, without actually participating in the discussion that's being put out there for people to.
The recital of a script of a film which can change the world.
There we go. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I got
Mummy,
it.
where's Daddy? That's how it starts off. Starts off like this. It goes, Mummy, where's Daddy? He's down the pub with his mates getting drunk. It's Friday night now. Eat your supper as a good boy. I think you should listen to it now. We'll hook back after you listen to it, yeah?
Okay, yeah, we've been on here quite a while, so.
It's 13 minutes long. So it's not very long.
All right.
You'll love it. You'll love it, honestly. If you don't watch it to the end, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
All right.
That'll give me a chance to go and relieve myself and put these hot dogs back in the freezer, too.
Awesome. Right, okay. Nice one, mate.
All right.
What can I call you? What's your first name?
Michael.
Mike. Can I call you Mike? Is that all right? Awesome.
That's fine, yeah, Mike. And your?
Nick.
Nick?
Yeah.
Oh, very good. All right, Nick.
All right, mate. Nice.
Have a good one.
Yeah, mate. Bye.
Cheers.